Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Arcanum of Steamworks and Magick Obscura, blind. I am still here exploring the city of Tarant, and I feel like I'm only kind of halfway done. It is really rather huge. So let's continue onwards. Zerad's magic armory. I wonder if he might help me identify the items. Oh, baleful hound. Interesting. They have some interesting things in the bag. I don't have time for dwarves. What sort of wares do you carry here? I specialize in high-quality armor and weaponry of magical nature. Many of the pieces I carry have been enchanted to assist the wielder with the task at hand. I am proud to say that my magical smithing abilities are second to none. Can I look at your trade goods? Basic plate mail. Okay, that's quite expensive. I guess at the very least I could sell the regular broadsword to him. So let's open this. Oh, I guess Virgil is currently using it, right? But I will give him a better weapon later. Well, better. A weapon, which is the balanced sword, but I think it's more suitable for him. It's lighter and quicker. Oh, he's not going to buy that. Interesting, but also kind of annoying. Okay, that's another shop of some kind. Dwarves, they should bury the lot of you. What sorts of wares do you carry here? I sell a wide selection of magically enhanced armor and weaponry, in addition to proper mage attire and accoutrements. I also stock a fine selection of enchanted scrolls. If you require any assistance, let me know. Let us trade. Do I want to sell anything? Or do I want to buy anything? That's also kind of a question. Not really. Hmm, 300 coins for a bonus to mana for Virgil. But I think I'm going to make him a balanced sword and be better for it. It seems to be a pretty great weapon, actually. Okay, I'm back here. I guess let's explore this, then explore the last couple buildings here, and then the big palace, and then the sort of workers district or whatever. In that way I will have it a little bit more structured. HT Parnell's. Okay. Oh, is it a museum? There's a two-headed cow. There is an orc, which, damn, are they showing off an orc as an attraction? Is it like a creep show? In which case, I find it really cruel and kind of horrifying, because they are basically saying that an orc is like analogous to two-headed cow, or like some kind of strange thing. This plaque reads, "The bizarre two-headed bovine of Fendigroth." This plaque reads, "The amazing Gar, the world's most intelligent orc." Okay, that's somehow even worse. That's like racist as frick. It almost makes me uncomfortable. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, I wonder... Although I guess it's complicated because I guess I'm looking at it from a real-world perspective, where, you know, the differences in IQ between races are a hotly debated topic because, first of all, they are rather small. Like, they are small enough, well, supposedly, according to those who believe that they are real at all. Even then, what I meant to say is, even if you believe that there are differences in IQ between races, they are still rather small, small enough that you can chalk it up to cultural differences, or even just simply statistical error. But I guess in a fantasy world, it might be the case that orcs are really less intelligent. Like, I guess. Let's talk to him.
Ugh, Igar, world's smartest orc. You have got question?
The brutish-looking orc gazes at you through heavy lids. He looks every bit the primitive orc. Oh, he has voice acting. Is he a companion? I do not know. What is your area of expertise?
I know much things. Gar tell all. Politics, mathematics, tea.
Wait. Tea?
Yes, Gar like tea. Gar civilized. Gar say Earl Grey best. Made from blend of black teas and oil from the bergamot plant. Excellent, Gar say.
Okay. That's kind of weird. What about Tarantian politics?
Tarant, foremost representative democracy in Arcanum. Chairman Willowsby try align Tarant with Caledon, cause him much trouble. Councilman Braith call for him to step down. Us invade Caledon. He not like Caledon because it monarchy. Main question be, can democracy join with monarchy and not destabilize?
That is an interesting question, and I would say generally in this kind of setting, because I assume they mean an actual absolute monarchy, you know, the traditional kind of monarchy you would find in historical settings of fiction, because I doubt they mean constitutional monarchy, you know, representative monarchy, the likes of, for example, the United Kingdom nowadays, where the Queen is basically just a you know, decorative element. Basically, she waves her hand at official gatherings and reads speeches and all that, but she has no actual executive power. I would say if it is an absolute monarchy, it wouldn't work, such a union, because those are democracy and you know, absolute monarchy are incompatible in my eyes. What else can you tell me about the politics of Arcanum?
Cumbria kingdom dying, refuse all technology, lose all provinces. Gar think King Praetor stupid. Other places side Caledon or Tarant. Few try be alone.
What else can you tell me about?
I know much things. Gar tell all. Politics, mathematics, tea.
Mathematics. Tell me, what is 4,573,200 divided by 6,543?
Gar not genius. Gar smarter than other orcs. Not smarter than professor of mathematics. I know 25 times 40 equals 1,000. No other orc tell you that.
Okay, I'm not going to say this, because first of all, I don't know if that's true, and I feel like regardless of if it's true or not, it's a very rude way of putting that. I'll be off then. Okay, what else is there? Authentic Cree shrunken head. Okay. Inside this case is a clumsily stitched assemblage of moth-eaten bear pelts. The plaque identifies this obvious fake as the Stillwater Giant. Okay, so I guess they manufactured some kind of a cryptid, almost like, you know, a Sasquatch or Yeti. This appears to be some kind of a rock. The plaque on it reads, "The Evil Aronax." This plaque displays, "Amazing miniature steam engine, actually works." What about this? This claims it is a petrified dragon, but it looks more like a poorly carved piece of rock. So it seems most of them are fake. I wonder if the orc is fake as well. Like it would be kind of hilarious if it was just an employee of this guy that's painted green or something. Because this seems to be a fake. This is clearly a fake. This is supposedly authentic. Let's talk with the owner. "I cannot help you, dwarf. I beg your pardon, but may I ask you a few questions?" "I would rather not. I do not like those type frequenting my establishment, even if you do have coin to spend." "Please, let me bask in the shadow of your genius. Like, I am annoyed by the servile sort of remarks that I am forced to choose if I want to not be antagonistic, but I choose to read them as partially ironic. Like I have this image in my head of my character sort of humoring those people at face value, all the while his voice is sort of dripping with sarcasm. So let me bask in the shadow of your genius. And perhaps I was a bit harsh on you. I have always had a place in my heart for pathetic grovelers. May I ask who I have the honor to be addressing?" The strange-looking fellow puffs out his chest and stretches out his arms, as if he was addressing a large crowd. "I am H.J. Parnell, world's most famous showman and collector of all things strange and fabulous. What is this place?" "This is my emporium of wonders, home to several of the world's most intriguing exhibits." "Might I ask you a few questions?" "Of course. I would like to ask about your objects." Which of the exotic, intriguing objects would you like to know more about?" What is this strange-shaped rock meant to be?" "This is the face of none other than Aronax, mysteriously burned into the rock by mystical forces during his banishment to the Netherrealms." "Aronax? Who is that?" "Aronax was evil incarnate. He tried to take over the world and establish the elves as ultimate rulers of all the races. Luckily, Nasruddin crushed him like the worm he was." Oh, so that's the basis of the Panari religion, right? I'm supposed to be the reincarnation of Nasruddin? And I guess Aronax was the evil one that Virgil, he forgot his name. What else can you tell me about Aronax and Nasruddin? Not much, sad to say. Theology and ancient lore are not much my strong suit. Perhaps you should talk to a priest of the Panari. I think they have a temple around here somewhere. I'd like to ask about other objects. What is this small head? The shrunken head of the barbarians of Cree. He lowers his voice in a mock seriousness. It is told that there are still tribes of nomadic barbarians roaming the southeast, who are meant to be descendant of the very tribes that followed the Bane of Cree on his murderous rampage across Arcanum. This head is all that was left of an adventurer who went looking for them. Actually, the Cree, I believe, are an actual Indian tribe, like in real life, but I don't know much about them. I'd like to ask about other objects. I was intrigued by the miniature steam engine. This is an exact scale replica of the first Bates steam engine, made exclusively from toothpicks and strings, and it works too. Okay, that's kind of ridiculous. Other objects? Would you be interested in purchasing an exotic object from me? I'm always in the market for the bizarre and unusual. What do you have? Bessie's Stone boot? Excellent. I'll give you 250 coin for the famous Bessie's boot. I will keep it for now, because it might be used in a quest to exorcise the ghost. If I happen to finish it successfully, then I can always return. I don't think so. I would like to ask about your creatures. Which of your fantastic creatures would you like to know more about? What can you tell me about the Stillwater Giant Pelt? This is one of my most famous exhibits. It creates a sense of awe just to be looking at the ferocious creature of this magnitude, a holdout from Arcanum's distant past. What it must have been like to see herds of those creatures hunting their prey. How did you come to acquire the pelt? Franklin Payne, world-renowned adventurer, under contract to me of course, had tracked this elusive creature to its lair, only to have the shifting winds betray his presence. Before he could even raise his weapon, the awful beast attacked. And then what happened? Armed only with a small dagger, Payne leapt upon the creature. Much blood was shed by man and beast, but Payne emerged victorious after impaling the creature on one of its own claws. One of its own claws? That seems a bit far-fetched. What are you insinuating, sir? Nothing. I don't want to antagonize him yet. Certainly, as I am only here to serve the needs of my patrons. Which one of the exhibits? About the creatures. What can you tell me about Gar the Orc? Ah, yes, Gar the Orc. I rescued him from some orc slavers on one of my many expeditions searching for oddities in exotic lands. They had only recently captured him and were about to execute him when I intervened. They mistook his intelligence for supernatural possession, you see. That's interesting. Okay. What can you tell me about other exhibits? Creatures. What can you tell me about the cow with two heads? Ah, the enigmatic cad chewer was shot on the safari wastes of Vendigroth. Who can say what sorcery or forbidden scientific experiments were called to create such a beast? You might not think of it to look at it, but it was a man-eater, it was. A man-eater? That stretches the bounds of believability. He acts as if he was wounded by your comment. Sir, I would never glide the truth. I am the man of honesty. Sure you are. What about some of the other creatures? What is the story regarding the petrified dragon? Magnificent, is it not? I find it one of my saddest exhibits, a remnant of the world gone by, the young dragon separated from its mother for all eternity. It looks like a carved piece of rock, and badly at that. Okay, I think I've exhausted all of the options, so I will insinuate that he's lying, just to see what happens. Some questions, bask in the shadow of your genius, questions, creatures, Stillwater Giant Pelt. It looks fake to me. I'm not insinuating anything. I said it looked fake. Are you dim? Yeah, that's what I feared is going to happen. I was hoping for some kind of a fun back and forth, you know, some kind of an argument. I don't want to kill him, at least not at this stage of the game.
world's smartest orc. You have got question?
Okay, I guess that's it for now. Let's continue onwards. Ah, that's the Bates estate. So I should probably visit it last. The City Hall, Department of Water, and Hall of Records. Okay. Supposedly there's some trouble in the sewers, so I might be able to help with that. I have no time for that of your race. Where am I? The City Hall, and I am a secretary of the Department of Water and Power. Fool. Why are you bothering me? What do you do here? We regulate the power and the water. What do you think the Department of Water and Power does, fool? Are you mentally incompetent? No. Well then I thank you to leave me be. Okay, he wasn't particularly helpful. And there's no one else here currently. So I've heard there were some troubles in the sewers, and I thought this guy might be able to talk with me about it, but apparently not. Stairs to the Hall of Records. I was supposed to visit this place, so I guess it's good that I went down here. And greetings, good sir. How may I be of service? What manner of place is this, pray tell? This great place is known as the Hall of Records. All manner of knowledge is kept upon these premises. It is here that all of our census records are kept as well. Tome upon tome of archives. Census? What is a census? A census is an official count of the number of people within the civilized continent, along with the value of their estates for the purpose of taxation. What type of information do the archives contain? The archives contain a profuse amount of information. Most of it exists in the form of deeds and other legal papers, but there are also newspapers. Newspapers? Yes. It is the most exciting endeavor we undertook. We've been archiving every newspaper for the last 120 years. They've turned out to be an exceptional resource for research on many subjects, as the newspapers contain such a myriad of information. Everything from attention-grabbing headlines to obituaries for the last 120 years is stored in our archives. Amazing. Your storage requirements must be immense. Not as much as one might think. Before the automated printing press came into being 30 years ago, newspapers were only created every month or two. More questions, perhaps? Of course, sir. Are you able to help me locate an individual? What about Gilbert Bates? The clerks look at you as if you were crazy, but sir, everyone knows who Gilbert Bates is. Who is he? Is the richest man in the world. He invented the steam engine. Okay, more questions? Another individual. Rory Limes. Let me see. Yes, there is an individual by that name here. No current residential address, but it seems he owns a building in the warehouse district. The address is 57 Mulligan Bone Alley. Was there anything else? Sure. How about more individuals? Oh, I guess I'm not asking about anyone else. Well, that is a bit of additional information, I guess. Well, let's get out. Zoological Society. Before you is a replica of the skull of Bellerogrim, the last of the great dragons. The body of Bellerogrim was discovered by Sir Walter Ginsberg in 1756. The lair, which houses the complete skeleton, is an open exhibit and can be visited here. A small map shows where it is. Okay, so will it update on my map as well? Because that's definitely kind of interesting. This petrified egg was found in the lair of the great dragon. The child inside was only months from hatching before Bellerogrim was killed. This ancient iron chest was unearthed in the lair of Bellerogrim. It seems to be older than even the dragon itself. It seems no one ever has been able to open it. So I somehow doubt simple lockpicking is going to do. Yeah. That would have been ridiculous. I wonder if this is plot related. If, for example, I will find a key to that chest at some point. Hello, welcome to Tarantian Zoological Society. How may I help you today? Wait, who is Tristan Fenwick? Ah, I'm supposed to do something, like relay a message to him, I believe? I'm looking for Dr. Tristan Fenwick. Oh, he's around here somewhere. His office is just here to the right. Take a look around and you're sure to find him. Ah, he's right here. I didn't notice that there was someone inside. Thank you. Just looking around. Go ahead, the exhibits are open to the public. Enjoy. I feel like this is the guy I'm supposed to deliver a note. No, actually, wait. Note for Mrs. Regina Holster. The Tarantian, hereby are authorized the Bank of Tarant to pay a sum of 200 coin to the order of Mrs. Regina Holster for the purposes of services rendered. Okay, so this is one of the messages, but I guess one of the gentlemen at the Gentleman Club told me to 57 Mulligan Bone Alley. Wait, I'm pretty sure I was not supposed to read that. I don't have time for your ilk, dwarf. Excuse my intrusion, good sir. I do not know you. Don't like the type of don't like those of your type, generally. I try to be on my best behavior. Got a few questions. I suppose I could tolerate you for a few minutes. You don't seem as bad as most of your type. What is it you want? Who are you? Well, if you must know, I'm the head of this here zoological society. Dr. Tristan Fenwick, that's me, at your service and all that nonsense. What does the zoological society do? Well, according to the catalogue, we deal with animals and animal life, including the study of structure, classification of animals. Some would say we just waste the taxpayer's coin. Might I ask you some questions? Ask away. Oh, I guess I have no other questions. Interesting. So I'm not sure why I said I was looking for him. I guess he's not the person I was looking for in the end. Okay, how does the map look? Okay, there are more buildings in the back, so I'll explore that, and then I think I'm mostly done with this district. There's only those two shops, I think, and then the sort of workers district, and obviously Gilbert Bates' mansion, but I'm going to go there last. For now, let me continue onwards through here. University Court. Nothing happening. University Court. do not associate with dwarfs. I would thank you to address me with respect, sir. Yes, sir, forgive my rudeness. Beneath mentioning, really. Have you a moment? Of course. What is it you do here? Phrenology is the science of the head. You see, every man and woman's head is characterized by different bumps and ridges. Through studying these, I attempt to extrapolate the personality of the individual involved. It's dreadfully interesting and phenomenally accurate. Accurate. Phrenology is actually, a historical brand of pseudoscience. Like, obviously, at the beginning of it, it wasn't thought as pseudoscience, and in fact, what he says is pretty much the point. It was the study of shapes of skulls and how supposedly it related to your character. For example, Cesare Lombroso, a very well-known scholar in the field of criminal justice, he had a theory, like he wrote a very famous book called The Man Delinquent or something like that, and basically he was a believer in phrenology. He believed that certain people have a predisposition towards criminal behavior, and that you can, but that he didn't think of it necessarily on a societal level, because that much is widely believed, I guess, in a way, although it's complicated to state my point exactly. But what I mean is the fact that your circumstances of your life might lead you to engage in criminal behavior. I don't think this is controversial, even now, but he believed that it was genetic. He believed that certain people, by the way of breeding, are more likely to commit crimes, and he tried to sort of ascertain that by measuring the bodies of criminals and comparing them to regular people and all that. What are you currently working on? It's quite interesting to ask. I'm looking to acquire the skulls of Jin and Zin, the famous Renard Siamese twins, for my studies. They were elvish debutantes who were joined at the hip their whole lives, scandalous characters as well. Stories of their exploits still float around the elite Tarantian societal circles. Acquire them? Where can those skulls be found? Well, it's going to be a bit of a problem. Could you help me with it? They are interned in a mausoleum in the Tarant cemetery. I'll pay you 100 gold pieces for your trouble. You want me to rob a grave for you? In the interest of science, my boy. All in the interest of science. Just think about the advances that could be made from this one little indiscretion. I'll say I'll do it. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually do it, but if I don't agree, I'm not sure if the option will present itself when the time comes. So sure, since you put the phrase so eloquently, I'll do it. Thank you so much. The information in those skulls may very well unlock the final phrenological secrets, help us all gain insights into the workings of the human mind. Interesting. I mean, I'm sure they will. Goodbye. But what's interesting is that he said he's a gnome, I think, and he wants me to steal a pair of elven skulls to determine what's the word? The characteristics of a human mind, which is a bit ridiculous, really. But oh well. I guess it was a turn of a phrase. Wait, elf seated? Okay. The circle is just underneath his feet, but it looked like it pointed to something on the table. Another arrogant dwarf. What do you want? We've only just met. Where are your manners? I'm very sorry, but you're having the most unpleasant effects on my general disposition. I'd rather be left alone. Sir, there must be something we can do to get past this. Well, I suppose I can look past your glaring faults for now. What exactly do you need? Might I ask who you are? I'm Professor Aldoxus Baxington, and I am the head of the religion department here at Tarant University. And you are? I'm Hargrim Stonehand. May I ask you a few questions? Certainly. Tell me about what you do here. Me? Oh, I've been at the Tarant University for many years. Mostly I teach classes, but I still do a fair bit of research when I can find the time. What sort of research are you doing right now? Currently I'm studying the older pagan religions of Arcanum. As I'm sure you're aware, the Panari have been the favored religion in Arcanum for the last 1500 years, but in the years before the Age of Legends, there were many religions and many gods. Each of the races had a certain god that they prayed to, and these are the gods that I've been studying. I see. Could I ask you a few questions about the pagan religions? Of course. Tell me about the pagan gods. There were 12 pagan gods in all, 8 lesser gods, one for each of the 8 races, 3 greater gods and the Allfather. Offerings were made to the gods in hopes of getting their blessing, and each god demanded a different offering. I've done quite a bit of research. I wrote a book on them. Would you like a copy? Sure. Here you go. Is there anything else I can help you with? I've got more questions. Are there still pagan temples? Yes, there are still individuals who worship them as well. Both the Order of Halcyon and the Cult of Gestiana are examples. Most of the ancient pagan temples are in ruin now, but you can still find them scattered throughout Arcanum, and some still have their altars intact. Okay. And do you believe in the pagan gods, Professor? He gives you a shrewd glance. Do I believe in them? That's an interesting question. I've studied almost everything there is to know about the pagan gods. I visited some of their temples, even made an offering or two. All I can say is, I've seen enough to know that those ancient beliefs are not to be trifled with. Tread lightly among the old gods, my friend. Okay. What is the diagram on the wall? Ah, yes, we call that Mezarine's Mystery. Who was Mezarine? Mezarine was an elven mystic who did his share of research into the old religions. About 3000 years ago, he wrote the Book of 12 Powers, which was a fairly cryptic analysis of the pagan religions. According to Mezarine, there was some sort of deeper connection between all of them. What do you mean, deeper connection? Well, Mezarine believed that the gods and their powers were somehow interwoven, and this diagram is supposed to explain how they are related. Certain gods don't get along with other gods. So-and-so get blessed by this fellow and that fellow curses you, that sort of thing. I see. Can you explain the diagram to me? There is an excerpt from the Book of 12 Powers that might help explain what it means, but no one ever has been able to solve Mezarine's mystery. The excerpt is in the book I wrote. I already have one. Okay, more questions. Need I remind you that dwarves are not welcome around here? Professor, have I done something to offend you? I'm very sorry, you're having unpleasant effect on my general disposition. Surely we can get past our differences. Have a moment? Okay, I guess I explored all of the questions, because at first there was a question about different things, but I guess I've explored everything. Let's take a look at the diagram. So there are different circles of gods, I believe, from that. Was there a symbol on the altar of Torg? I believe it was this, right? I don't quite understand which are the antagonistic ones. I would believe the ones in a common circle are friendly towards one another. And is this the Allfather? Because he's sort of apart. There are like 3 circles, kind of? Because there is this largest one, which has those 3. There is 2 smaller ones, this one and this one. And there is like the smallest one. I guess it's not a circle, it's not closed, it's more of a spiral. Well, let's read the book actually. The Pagan Gods of Arcanum by Aldous T. Buxington. The following is a brief description of the pagan religious figures of Arcanum. Most, with few exceptions, have been forgotten and lost to antiquity. It is the author's experience that the old gods do indeed have power, and are not all to be disavowed. The Lesser God. There is a lesser god for every race in Arcanum. I have classified them into 3 categories: the noble lesser gods, the neutral lesser gods, and the darker lesser gods. The noble lesser gods. Terrell, the elven god of wisdom. Before the advent of existentialism, the elven people were mostly mystics who worshipped natural deities. The most powerful of those deities was Terrell, god of the trees, who later came to embody wisdom. Terrell was both blind and mute, and could only speak through the wind or the rain. Offerings to Terrell were small wooden statues, known as litani, or houses of the soul. Such idols carved once a year by elven shamans were said to hold the spiritual essence of the owner. Every year the litani were offered to Terrell and then burned. Offerings of the litani to Terrell were believed to increase both intelligence and insight. Gestiana, human goddess of love. Gestiana has been a central figure in the human paganism for as long as their history has been recorded. Human mythology claims that Gestiana was once a mortal woman who was so beautiful that she was made into a god by the moon and the sun. Human believed that Gestiana would smile down upon them at twilight, and that her love was manifested in springtime. The festivals to the goddess were time of celebration, wrought with music and drink, as well as various rites of physicality and fertility. Offerings at the altars of Gestiana were usually the passion root, which was believed to bring the giver increased beauty and charisma. Neutral lesser gods. Alberich, stone god of the dwarfs. The ancient god Alberich has always weighted heavily in dwarven lore. According to the oldest dwarven myths, it is upon the spine of Alberich upon which Arcanum rests, and the dwarfs are his first children, who are privileged to live within him. That's actually rather hardcore. Like, it reminds me of Norse mythology, because supposedly Midgard, the world of the humans, was like carved from bones of giants or something like that. But here it's even more like, it's like the dwarves supposedly believed that they lived inside their god, which is a little bit crazy. Alberich is the most ancient of things, and those who love him, and loves those who are slow to anger, deep of thought, and hardworking. To the altars of Alberich, dwarves bring chunks of lava rock. To them, it represents his anger, which can be terrible, but which is cool and light when all is well with his children. Dwarves believe that those offerings bring them increased strength. Makal, the Bedokan god of the hunt. Very little is known of the lizard-like nomadic Bedokan. The following is an excerpt from Fauna and Species of the Dark Fens by the famous gnomish explorer Sir Warren Purrington. They have a language, the most elementary beginning of culture, but besides that seem altogether wild and ferocious. Their simple religion revolves around the deity they call snake fathers, one of whom is being named Makal, the god of the hunt. Before their daily outings to find food, the Dokan warriors kneel before the altar of Makal and offer a small piece of something they call heartstone, which looks to be some form of rough diamond or crystal. Where they get them, I I have yet to ascertain. Bedogan warriors believe that the offerings to Makal give them speed when hunting their prey. Truly, these are primitive people. One-armed Bolo, the halfling god of thieves. One of most important halfling deities was Bolo, the one-armed god of thieves. Bolo was known for his cunning ways and his love of all things precious and beautiful. Legends tell that Progo, the halfling god of storm, cut off Bolo's arm because Bolo has stolen his shadow. In retaliation, Bolo stole Progo's soul and tore it in half. Progo promptly dropped dead. Wow, that's also quite hardcore, because usually in fiction, in traditional fantasy, halflings are not people that you would treat very seriously, but their religious lore is rather hardcore, what with stealing someone's soul and tearing it in half. Halflings used to offer rings at the altar of Bolo. Rings remind them of the price that Bolo paid for his carelessness, as well as the skill he still possesses in his remaining hand. Thieves who make offerings believe that Bolo helps them to move more quickly and helps them to open locks more skillfully. Kerlin, the golden god of gnomes. Gnomish history is well guarded, as are their most ancient beliefs and tradition, but a visit to any gnomish household will reveal at least one of their religious traditions. One will invariably find a golden statuette or a likeness thereof of Kerlin, the golden god. Kerlin was the oldest of the gnomish pantheon, and all other gods were sprung directly from the palms of his hand. He sang the world into existence, and sound solidified into great veins of gold and silver. Kerlin wanted only the coins that were made of his words, and so gnomish offerings were always of money. Gnomes believed that the offerings bring them luck in games of chance, as well as shrewd eyes in business dealings. The darker lesser gods. Shakar, the orcish god of war. Shakar, the orcish god of war, was a frightening creature with the head of a ram, 4 arms, and the tail of a scorpion. For many years, orcs sacrificed their firstborns to Shakar, but the orcish lore says that Shakar changed his mind about the sacrifices when he saw that the orcs were truly warlike, and then demanded only their finest weapons as offerings. Traditionally, those were bone-handed knives and swords, bone to represent Shakar's great horns, and tempered with steel to represent his will. The orcs were very serious about their god, and they carried such weapons to remind them of his ferocity. It is said that some of the lesser barbarian tribes have taken to worship Shakar. It is rumored that the altar of the god still exists in the ruins of Kree, an ancient city in the southeastern regions of the Moribund Plains. Offerings made to Shakar were often said to imbue the giver with the unnatural willpower and prowess in battle. Torg, god of the ogre heart. So I've discovered this shrine. Ogre lore tells that Torg was father of many children, and that long ago there were many gods to rule over the ogrish people. As time passed, Torg saw that his children had forgotten what it meant to be ogrish and slew them all. From the bodies of his children, he pulled their steel-beating hearts and ate them, bringing into himself all the best parts of them, and threw the rest into the sea. To the altars of Torg, the ogres bring rubies, a symbol of the fierce heart within their god. They believe those offerings bring them increased vitality and strength of body. The greater gods. Greater gods are classified so because they are cross-cultural. All of the races worship them in some form or another. Halcyon, the god of truth. All of the pagan religion has had a notion of ultimate good, and the god Halcyon represented the good in all of them. He is best known as the god of truth and is the child of Helion, god of light and the sun. Halcyon was said to shed light on all that was unknown, that was petty or evil. The order of Halcyon priests still exists in Voriden, a small village in the southeastern region of Moribund Plains. offerings made to Halcyon were always of the branch of the olive tree, which are most difficult to find in the light of destruction of the Moribund forest. What was expected of the offering was unknown. Morindal, the god of shadow. Evil is integral part in any religion. Morindal, the god of shadow, represented in one way or another in all of Arcanum's pagan religions. Morindal is the bastard son of Moon, and Helion, the god of light. Patricide is always associated with Morindal, and the legend tells that once Helion ruled over both day and the night, but Morindal killed him so that the night could be his and his mother's. So that the night became the kingdom of Morindal, as did the winter months. There were many secret cults and religions that worshipped Morindal, but we know little about their practices, and perhaps it is for the best. We do not know what we do know that they used black diamond from the Pangelian deeps as offerings to their dark gods. It represented loss of innocence and was the triumph of the shadow. What it was expected to do, we do not know. Kaitan, the goddess of balance. Kaitan is the daughter of the moon and the sun, and so is the half-sister to both Halcyon and Morindal. Kaitan is a trickster, a cunning goddess who is forever playing tricks on her two more emotional half-brothers, setting them against one another and laughing when they blame the other for their problems. As it was, she was worshipped by thieves and actors, but Kaitan was also the goddess of judges, and they would pray to her for guidance and discernment in all decisions, as well as her cunning when dealing with enemies. It was said that Kaitan knew all things and their value. She was always smiling because most things were worth nothing at all. Worshippers of Kaitan offered to her a geode, which represented both the beautiful and the evil in the world. What was expected of the offering was unknown. Velorian, the All-Father. Of the all pagan gods, the least known about is Velorian, or the All-Father. References to him are few and far between, but all of the religions speak of a deity who watches over all, and from whom all was created. There are only two passages that refer to the All-Father by name, and both are from the Book of 12 Powers, written by Mesarine, the elven mystic, almost 3,000 years ago. The second verse will be discussed later. The first verse says, "And the city of wonders made great offerings to the All-Father, and he blessed them and gave them power, and they made things never seen before by the eyes of man." If there were offerings made to Velorian, it is unknown what they were, or what was expected of him if the offering was made. Mesarine, the elven mystic, an excerpt from the Book of 12 Powers. And the 12 powers, they are woven together, floating inward. The road to truth starts with wisdom, but shadow first finds purchase in the heart. The road between them is marked with stones, and the gods, they are jealous gods, and often despise one another. Greed is spit upon by love without the protection of the shadow, and serves as the reflection of the whole. Be steadfast, 4 powers, and then a 5th, 3 5s, and then the 1. And glory to he who gains the blessing of the All-Father, who will become a god himself. And the meaning of this passage is unknown, but it seems that Mesarine believed that all of the pagan gods were somehow intertwined. Very little research has been done concerning the supposed relationship. I am often asked whether or not I have my own religious beliefs. I will say only this: I have studied the gods extensively, visited their temples, even made offering at certain altars where they were still intact. From what I have seen, I can say with verity that these ancient beliefs are not to be trifled. Tread lightly among them. Okay, so I guess the most important part is this. The road to truth starts with wisdom. Be steadfast. 4 powers and then a 5th. 3 5s and then the 1. So I guess it's supposed to, it refers to this diagram, but I don't really understand, because 1 2 3 4 5 does it go, it's supposed to be 4 powers first, so I guess this is also 5, and the outermost circle is 3. I should probably like make a screenshot of this. Do I have a copy of this diagram that I could carry with me? It's not included here. Because it also said that, does it go inwards or... The road to truth starts with wisdom. Four powers and then the 5th, 3 5s and then the 1. So there is like a path that I'm supposed to follow if I want to reach the blessing of the Allfather. But I would 4 powers and then the 5th, 3 5s and then the 1. But how does it? 4 powers and then the 5th. I guess maybe it goes, maybe it starts somewhere and it's like continuous. It's not different loops. It's like a continuous path. Like for example here, and then over here, and then here to here, and then for example over here. Okay, this actually goes nowhere, as far as I understand. But I feel like I would probably need this. Maybe I will like even print it out. That might be kind of helpful, because if I encounter those shrines in the wild, I need to consider the symbols and how they relate to one another. So I'll consider printing it out or something, because I don't think it's saved anywhere in my inventory or anything. But that was quite interesting. That was a long read, but it seems like a beginning of a very cool quest. I'm not sure if it's part of the main quest or it's more of a side activity, but definitely something worth looking into. But besides that, this episode has been long enough, so I'm going to end it here. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!